It is as if I had someone's voice, but perhaps I only imagined it.
Trying to recall how it had all happened, Joe Collins knew only that he had been lying on the bed, too tired to pull his feet, still in soaking wet shoes, out from under the blanket, staring without blinking at the web of cracks spreading across the dirty yellow ceiling, watching how water slowly, mournfully seeped through them, drop by drop. That must have been when it happened. Collins thought he saw something metallic glinting near his bed. He raised himself and sat up. On the floor stood a machine where no machine had stood before. And as Collins stared at it in amazement, somewhere far, far away, an unfamiliar voice said,
Well then, that's all.
Or perhaps I only imagined that. But the machine was unquestionably standing on the floor in front of me.
Collins dropped to his knees to examine it. The machine resembled a cube, about 3 feet long, wide, and high, and emitted a soft humming sound. Its gray, granular surface was identical on all sides, except for one corner with a large red button, and in the center, a bronze plaque. The plaque was engraved Class A Utilizer, Series AA1256432. Below it read, "This machine may be used only under Class A." That was all. No dials, levers, switches. In short, none of the devices Collins believed every machine ought to have. Just a bronze plaque, a red button, and a hum.
Where did you come from?
The Class A Utilizer continued humming. Collins, to be honest, hadn't expected an answer. Sitting on the edge of the bed, he studied the Utilizer thoughtfully.
Now the question is, what do I do with it?
Collins cautiously touched the red button, fully aware that he had no experience handling machines that fell from the sky.
What would happen if I pressed it? Would the floor collapse? Or would little green man come tumbling through the ceiling? But what am I risking?
He pressed the button lightly. Nothing happened.
Well then, do something.
The Utilizer continued to hum quietly.
Alright. In any case, a machine can always be pawned. Honest Charlie would give me at least $1, a pound, for scrap metal.
Collins tried to lift the Utilizer. It wouldn't budge. He tried again, straining with all his might, and managed to raise one corner of the machine an inch or two off the floor. He let go and, breathing heavily, sat down on the bed.
You ought to call me a couple of husky fellows to help.
The humming immediately grew louder, and the machine even began to vibrate. Collins waited, but still nothing happened. As if on a hunch, he reached out and jabbed the red button with his finger. 2 huge men in rough work overalls instantly appeared before him. They gave the Utilizer an appraising look.
Thank the Lord it's not the biggest model. You can't even get a grip on those monsters.
Still easier than chiseling marble in a quarry, wouldn't you say?
They stared at Collins, who stared back at them. Finally, the first said,
All right, buddy, we can't hang around here all day. Where do we haul the Utilizer?
Who are you?
Riggers. Do we look like the Van Zaggy sisters?
But where did you come from?
From the Poukh and Minail Rigging Company. We came because you requested riggers. So where do you want it?
Go away. I will call you later.
The riggers shrugged and vanished. For a couple of minutes, Collins stared at the spot where they had just been. Then he turned his gaze back to the Class A Utilizer, which was once again humming peacefully.
Utilizer. I can think of a better name for you. Wish fulfillment machine, for example.
It couldn't be said that Collins was terribly shaken. When something supernatural happens, only dull, limited minds are incapable of accepting it. Collins was certainly not one of those. He was superbly prepared to perceive a miracle. Almost his entire life he had dreamed, hoped, begged fate for something extraordinary to happen to him. In his school years, he dreamed that one morning he would wake up to discover that the boring necessity of studying had vanished, since everything had somehow learned itself. In the army, he dreamed that fairies or genies would appear, take over his duty, and instead of marching in formation, he would end up barracks orderly. After demobilization, Collins loafed about for a long time, since he didn't feel psychologically prepared for work. He drifted with the waves again, dreaming that some fabulously rich person would decide to amend his last will and leave everything to him. Truth be told, he didn't really expect such a miracle to actually occur. But when it did occur, he was already prepared for it.
I would like to have $1,000 in small bills with unregistered serial numbers.
When the humming intensified, he pressed a button. A large pile of grimy $5 and $10 bills appeared before him. They weren't crisp new banknotes, but they were unquestionably money. Collins tossed a whole handful of bills into the air and watched as they drifted down slowly, swirling beautifully onto the floor. Then he began making plans.
First of all, the machine had to be taken out of New York, somewhere upstate, to a quiet place where noisy neighbors wouldn't stick their noses into my business. Under circumstances like mine, income tax could become a rather delicate issue, and later, when everything settled down, it would be possible to move to the Central States or...
Some suspicious noise sounded in the room. Collins jumped to his feet. A hole had formed in the wall, and someone was noisily forcing his way through it.
Hey, I didn't ask you for anything.
The hole in the wall widened. A heavy-set, red-faced man appeared, angrily trying to squeeze into the room and already halfway out of the wall.
All machines, as a rule, belongs to someone. Any owner of a wish fulfillment machine would dislike losing it and would go to any lengths to get it back, perhaps stopping at nothing. Protect me!
Yawning, clearly just awakened, a small bald man in bright pajamas appeared.
Temporary Wall Security Service, Anissa Leak. I'm Leak. How may I help you?
Get rid of him!
The red-faced man, wildly waving his arms, had almost completely crawled out of the wall. Leak pulled a small piece of shiny metal from his pajama pocket.
Wait! You don't understand! This fellow!
Leak aimed his piece of metal at him. The red-faced man shrieked and vanished.
Thank you for your time.